So 2017 was a pretty interesting year for Star Wars. And by interesting, I mean awful. And by awful, yeah, I mean pretty fucking awful. I know some of you may agree with what I'm going to say, and others may want to nail me to the cross like the sweet baby Jesus. But between the glorified slot machine that was Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the subject matter of this video, the words Star Wars kind of leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. But don't get me wrong, this movie does have its fair share of positive qualities. But those sprinkled atop the mountain of just weird decisions that they made while making this film does not a good movie make. And honestly, just the thought that I spent my hard-earned money on it makes me feel dirty. But enough about my sex life. Let's get into the review. I went into this movie not having seen a single trailer. I know. It's about as hard to believe as it was to execute. And the only expectation I had for this movie was just be better than The Force Awakens. And just, clean up the dangling plot threads that JJ left for us. Thank you, JJ. And don't get me wrong, I do not have any issue whatsoever with comedy in Star Wars. But with the new comedy style, you can feel a very strong Disney presence in these movies. They're just so heavy-handed with the family-friendly humor that it hurts.
I am professional.
I mean, they can't even let tension rise in a scene without throwing a joke in there. You don't feel like there's any actual gravity to any situation in the movie whatsoever. Oh wow, dude, shit's really going down out here. Insert one-liner here. And then they're going to try to just throw a deep emotional bombing scene in the movie right after we finish the silly phone call between Hux and Poe. I mean, it's just so confusing when watching this movie. It's just like, are we supposed to worry about these characters? Are we supposed to feel like they're in danger? Or are we just supposed to laugh? And then you throw these deep emotional scenes into the movie right after a joke. And it's like, is this supposed to be sad? Is this supposed to be funny? I don't know. But what? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to care about these characters? Y'all take the care out of character. Also, this bombing scene holds one of a few moments where this movie completely throws out any notion that the vacuum of space will have any ill effect on the human body. And that moment is the moment where Rose's sister is laying on the platform directly above the opened bomber doors. And I already know And I already know what some of you are going to say. The bomber shields are protecting her. No. They didn't say it in the movie, so it doesn't count. Also, those bombers were getting picked off left and right. So if they had any shield, them shits weren't working, okay? Definitely not well enough to protect her from the cold grips. Space death. Also, there's no way that she had enough time to catch that remote as it was falling past her face. There's no way. This is definitely just a personal thing, but God, I hate it when movies do scenes like this. Why? They should have just had it fall on her face with one of those old cartoony sound effects. I mean, yeah, that'd be, right up Disney's alley. Oh yeah, and how the hell does the First Order even afford a damn dreadnought in the first place? They blew up their whole planet-sized base in the last movie. I mean, you just suffered absolutely no financial repercussions from an action like that. I mean, I wonder if I have it in me to dish out $2 on a coffee. And these dudes are out here making it rain on murder weapons and just getting them destroyed like they got fucking all the money. And you know what? This might be nitpicky, but I think some of the practical effects sitting next to these highly detailed CGI set pieces just look silly. Fucking silly. I mean, some of these shits just look like they were dug out of a dollar store dumpster. Like, just look at this dude. It's like they just borrowed someone's grandpa's trench coat, and this damn head is so heavy he can't even keep his legs from bowing out. It looks like they wrestled a homeless man for his jacket. You just can't have things in a movie that look like this and also have things in a movie that look like this. It's just silly. It's just silly. Honestly though, I can't be too mad because I feel like their hearts were in the right place with these props. I feel like they were really just trying to recapture the essence of those original movies. But I didn't like it. So now we hop to Act 2 with Rey and Luke. And at this point, I'm just brimming with anticipation. Finally, I get to see the conclusion of the lightsaber on the cliff scene. So here we are watching Rey hold out this lightsaber to Luke like it's his child and he's the estranged father that went out to pick up milk 30 years ago and never came back. And in that moment, Luke takes the lightsaber from Rey and throws it over his shoulder like it was a child that he didn't want. This scene to me kind of felt like the film equivalent of just someone slowly letting the air out of a balloon. I honestly had no idea what I expected the conclusion of that to be, but that definitely wasn't it. Oh, but this was just a prelude for stranger things to come. I mean, some really, really weird shit. And I've seen some weird shit. I know weird shit. I've seen Two Girls, One Cup. So long story short, Rey is just following Luke around on this island, begging him to train her in the ways of the Jedi. Which, I mean, she's, pretty skilled. I think she could probably teach Luke a thing or two, Teach me the good old 1, 2. But anyway, that's all fine and good. Then, all of a sudden, Luke walks up to this bowling pin with an elephant trunk and cow titties looking ass alien and squeezes some blue milk out of its titty, and then he drinks it as if it were some kind of weird nod to the original trilogy. And that's not even the worst part. I mean, just to add insult to injury, like he drinks it and then some starts just dribbling down his beard and shit. And then also while he was squeezing the milk out of the thing's titty in the first place, it was like moaning sexually. And it just gives Rey this look like, hey girl, this ain't the first time this shit's gone down. You can either hang out or leave. Either way, shit's about to get weird. And yeah, man, I get it. Luke was in isolation. Maybe he got a little lonely. I don't know. But that's a mental image nobody needs to have. Needless to say, I didn't dig it. Ah, porgs. You little merch selling bastards. Porgs. 50% pug, 50% penguin, 100%. And honestly, this might make me a dick, but I was really hoping that little porg jumping on the lightsaber would activate it and just take that other one out. Natural selection? Do your thing. So let's talk about Snoke. Snoke man. Snokerino. Good old Snokey boy. So they just introduced this dude like he's somebody we're just so used to seeing all the time. I mean, the only time we ever saw him in The Force Awakens was in the form of a giant hologram. So you would think that something like Snoke's first physical outing would be something, building up a little anticipation for. But nope, they just throw this dude out there like he's somebody we see all the time. And I was very underwhelmed by his physical presence. I mean, Jesus, this guy looks like Hugh Hefner and Goldmember had a baby and then immediately, in shame of what they had done, doused the baby in gasoline and set it on fire. Oh, but we're going to talk more about Snoke later. Oh yeah, and I just thought it was really funny that Luke called the lightsaber a laser sword. Let's not put it off any longer. Let's talk about the scene. You know what scene I'm talking about. There is a lot to cover here, so let's take it from the top. So Kylo Ren is flying around in his special little TIE fighter. Little TIE fighter. Little TIE fighter. Little baby. Muy pequeño. TIE fighter-o. After he fired a missile into the hangar bay of the Resistance ship. Oh, no. He's definitely dead. He's dead, for sure. And he senses that Mama Leia is on the command center of the ship. And in that moment, he is just locked in turmoil, contemplating completing his descent into the dark side and blowing that command deck to smithereens. But before he even gets to fully contemplate it, the two stormtroopers and accompanying TIE fighters next to him prematurely fire off their load, destroying the command deck. The entire time I'm in the theater, I'm basically just thinking, how are they going to kill off Leia? For lack of better words, I'm just wondering how they're going to send her character off. since Carrie Fisher's passed and all. And then I was thinking, this must be how it's going to happen. I got a little bit excited for what could happen the rest of the movie. Oh man, Kylo Ren didn't get to complete his descent into the dark side. Maybe there's going to be a conflicted Kylo subplot throughout the rest of the movie. Who knows? So I'm sitting here just watching moments after the missiles hit the command deck, debris floating through space, very calm music playing, when all of a sudden the camera just pans over and you see Leia's corpse floating through space. And I'm thinking, this is kind of a weird shot. Why are they focusing on her body like this? And then her finger twitched. What is happening? What is happening? Then the camera panned up to her face and her eyes opened. And then Leia put out her hand and she flew. Leia flew through fucking space. Like Mary Poppins? Little Mary Poppins-esque? All I can say is that her surviving this scene just felt forced. Yes, pun intended. In this moment, just any bit of hope I had left for this movie just flew out the damn window. And like the worst part about this is after this whole scene, she just does nothing for the rest of the movie. They could have shipped her off here and there, and that would have just been the end of it. But no, she just slips into the damn coma, and I don't know. It's just silly. The word of this movie is just silly. And no, that's not even the worst part of this scene. They killed Admiral Akbar off screen. I didn't even know that he died until they said it in the whole follow-up scene afterwards. Just Admiral Akbar. He was the meme of a generation. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a wrap. One nice thing that I really do have to say about this movie, though, the scene with Luke and R2. I mean, that little interaction with the hologram Leia got me right in the feels. But one negative thing that came out of this scene was it just made me truly realize how underutilized R2 was in this whole movie.
You're my only hope.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. And not just R2, but Chewbacca as well. I mean, God, if he wasn't holding a porg up to the screen or dropping right off at Jedi training camp, he just wasn't there at all. I guess you could call him a scruffy-looking porg herder. Now, while Leia was in her 20-minute coma, we are introduced to Admiral Holdo, a new character who we are told is very impressive. A sort of no-nonsense individual who's gonna take care of things while Leia's down and out. Okay, so now we get to the point in the movie where Rey and Kylo have this like weird sort of like force connection, and they are borderline able to physically touch one another. Damn, that's a thick boy right there. So at first, when this shit was going down, I was equal parts confused and intrigued. But I mean, later on, we just find out in the movie that Snoke was behind the whole thing. And you would think, that's got to take some wicked strong force connection to pull some shit like that off. So, I mean, keep that in mind. Wicked strong force connection, borderline omniscience, borderline omnipotent. The entire Canto Bight scene was completely out of place. I mean, this was the part in the movie theater where I just felt myself nodding off. It just felt like they kept trying to hit these like weird political like subtexts about slavery and animal abuse. And I mean, that shit just all completely falls flat when our titular heroes just say fuck all these slave kids and just release all these big ass cat horses. Like, oh yeah, these things are cool. But those kids, forget the kids. That don't make no fucking sense. And I mean, while they're just running around in this casino world, our main resistance ship is just putting along. Running out of fuel, just... And it just leaves you thinking, like, do we really have time for this? Like, they're just running around saving these cat horses. Just, what? Then you gotta save the ship, man. You gotta save it. So Finn and Rose end up getting captured anyway. And while they're in this prison, they end up meeting the Codebreaker. And the Codebreaker code breaks their asses on out of that cell, where they are immediately stopped by guards. Oh wait, no, BB-8 kicked all their asses. I'm starting to think he's just the most capable character out of the entire lot. Dun, dun. So Rey swings around this lightsaber for exactly 54 seconds. And yeah, that's all you need. That's it. That's all you need to become a Jedi Master. I don't care what you say. That's it. And honestly, I mean, I'm not saying we need a whole 45-minute training segment in the movie, but like a 2-minute montage with her doing like little backflips with Luke on her back. I mean, come on. But yeah, then Yoda pops out. Yeah, I thought he looked a little weird. I don't know if it was the puppet they decided to use or what, but like, I don't know. He just looked a little chubby, looked a little weird. Maybe it was the lighting. Maybe he eats well in Jedi heaven. But I mean, all that shit aside, this little dude can control lightning. Like, not that little weak Emperor Palpatine from the hands type shit. Like, no, I'm talking lightning from the sky. Like, he's bringing it down. But no, he definitely can't help bring balance to the Force. He can't. No. Nope. No. Exactly. Page turners. They are not. All right, I think here's a pretty good place to wrap up part 1 of my review. Part 2 will be out shortly, so keep an eye out for that. And you know, if you like what I do, show your boy some love. A little bit goes a long way. No. Jello pudding. Go, kachoo. Don't you forget. Did I look funny retarded? We'll find out.